right, well, welcome out to the pirated version, the Agent Success Manager, not podcast, is what I'm going to call this one. I'm your host, Rich Post. Got Jordan and Tate with me. Today we're going to be talking about some keys to 2025, what you agents can do to be successful. So, Tate, really quick, just what are some of the things you've been hearing from your agents as, you've kind of wrapped up AEP? What are some of their complaints or questions? What have you been hearing?
Yeah, I think some of the main things just right off the bat are just kind of these changes happening in 2025, right? With some of these special election periods, no more, LIS, quarterly being used, just simple stuff like that. I feel like for the most part, a lot of them are already plug and play, right? They're just kind of carrying over, but I think it's just all these changes for this next year for me the most.
Would you say the same? Or
Yeah, a lot of agents are a little bit scared of the unknown. Like, hey, what's going to happen? What can I do in this point? When it comes to the SEP changes of 2025, what are we looking at? Most of my agents are still ready and gung-ho. They took that break for end of AEP, Christmas, New Year's, but now it's time, foot back on the gas because there's 3 months now.
Yeah, for sure. Some of the things I've been hearing is that uncertainty, like, what are we going to do? I was actually hearing it like December 8th. Like,
yeah.
What do we do? And personally, I still had agents writing plenty of business all the way up until, the 31st. And so what I've always just told agents is there's always opportunity. You just got to look for it. Yeah. Right. And like you said, don't take your foot off the gas, which, kind of leads into this like AEP wrap up. Like what I want us to do and tell our agents is kind of like, what are some strategies you guys can do, post AEP into OEP to be successful. Right. And so kind of, I'll take the lead and kind of, we are agents, right? And so I just kind of take our own advice, but we also put this out to you guys. Right now is the time to start auditing your book of business. So what does that mean? What does that look like? It's like, okay, so now, hopefully you've been tracking all your applications, your spreadsheet, whatever, your notebook. I've seen it all in the 14 years I've been doing this, but like start auditing your book of business. That, that means going to those different broker websites, and logging in and going, okay, who's still active? Who, Humana has a great tool where you can click a report and it says, here's all your future cancellations. And I've actually had a couple agents text me today freaking out. Like, one agent literally before we walked in is like, whoa, do these companies like steal agents' business? And it's like, hey man, like, did you actually look at the book of business or did you just see a scary number in your broker portal? And haven't talked to him yet, but that's kind of, my thoughts on it. Just check your broker portals. What are you guys' thoughts? Like,
yeah, whatever method you have to keep track of your book of business, do what works for you. We have tools that can help you out with that, but they're not going to be working for everybody. I mean, some people just like literal pen and paper. Hey, keep your track of book of business, but you got to check. Use marks if you have to. If you don't have marks, reach out to us. We can help you with that. The broker portals are great. Humana has a good one. If you have UHC, Jarvis has a decent one as well too. But like, don't be a one and done. Hey, I enrolled you. See you later. Okay, well, if you do that, they're not going to talk to you again. Mike has said a bunch of times, your best ability is your availability. So always be available to your clients and just be ready to help communicate what is upcoming. One thing I always say is set expectations of what is next, what's happening next, and you're going to kind of lead into what your method is of how you outreach clients during this time.
Well, even, kind of sticking with, like, that audit, like, look at your dang commission statements, right? Track your money. Again, a lot of agents, like, they just, I didn't get paid on so-and-so. And that kind of, again, goes to auditing that book of business again. So look at your clients, look at your broker portals, check your commission statements, verify it's all there, then raise those red flags, you know. Another thing we're going to let's just discuss it now is, leading into OEP, what are your retention efforts, right? I've probably, you guys have heard me on all our team trainings. I've probably been hundreds of times. Now, does anybody listen to me? Who knows? But like from a retention side, you spent all that time, energy, and effort, acquiring that business. You want to keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just easy to keep.
You planted that tree. You still got to water it.
Right. Right. And so like one thing I've always told my agents and your agents as well is, this is when you need to start implementing thank you cards. They're cheap, right? I just go on Amazon or Walmart.com and just order generic thank you cards. Hey, thanks for letting me help you with your plan, Mrs. Smith. It's pretty simple, right? Nothing extravagant. I do a little cheesy thing at the bottom. Don't keep me a secret. don't even remember where I got that from, but I just literally, I write that in every thank you card.
Well, even on that note, I mean, just kind of jumping a little tangent, you had someone that called you 2 years later because you sent him a card. Hey, you didn't sell him, but you're like, how did you find me?
Yeah.
Because you sent him a card, right?
Yeah. It cost me what, $1?
Yeah.
50-cent stamp or whatever. I think they're 69 cents now, whatever.
Yeah.
A bunch of stamps, envelope, 5 minutes of my time, two business cards out in the mail, right? Have you ever used any of those? I know you used to do door to door, but like Medicare's kind of the new jam for you.
Yeah. I mean, for me, luckily, in our systems, we kind of have our own retention campaign built in. But especially with like my in-home appointments, really, I just love to leave like a lasting impression, right? Really, leave to them, hey, I'm your guy, this is that. I'm texting them, hey, just want to make sure everything's, going good. This is my first annual enrollment. All my clients, I've been double checking, doing March checks, because at the end of the day, I mean, who wants, even though it's, a sale, a couple $100, no one wants to lose that, right?
Correct.
And, as well as you create relationships with these people and you want to continue to build them and grow, because 100% you will get referrals from these people that you kind of grow with them, right? So
yeah. Set that expectation. Goes back to what you're saying. Hey, I am your guy. I'm the one that's going to help you with this, and let them understand that you're the one that's helping them out from here on out. Period. Like, hey, you don't need to talk to somebody else on the phone and retell your whole story when you and I already have this relationship. I already know your situation. You can reach out to me with questions that, because I know you so well as your agent, I can help guide you into that.
Well, yeah, you've set that expectation, and but next is like continue to follow up with that member, right? You and I just saw a stat a minute ago, 30% of people still change their plan in OEP.
Yeah, those are the people that changed in AEP.
Yeah.
32 or 33% are going to change in OEP as well. Yeah. That's 1 in 3.
Hopefully you're the one that writes that business.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want that charge back.
No, if they're going to make any changes, it has to come through you. Set that expectation as well.
So, so that's just, again, good on you, Tate. So it's like, hey, I've done all this business. I went around my first AEP, and it's not just kind of like, throw it against the wall, hope it sticks. You should continue to follow up with that person, 30, 60, 90 days after that enrollment. One thing that I've done personally is what I call the birth month audit, right? This is kind of going in through the rest of the year. Is I'll go through like, here's all my January birthdays, do a March check, and then February, then in March, I just kind of go throughout the year, and then like, I notice if people are changing their plan. Technically, they're still your client if the plan is still active. Hey, I noticed that your plan is, someone changed your plan. I use that word because I want to, hey, someone was in your account kind of thing, cause a little doubt. Like, hey, hey, it looks like you're changing to something else. Were you aware? Well, why did you make that change? And, I've run into a few people. Well, they said I was going to be, it's going to be great. And I'm like, well, kind of not, you're actually losing benefits here,
Yeah. And the time frame that you're speaking on is like, if it's today's January 2nd, you notice a client has a February 1st effective.
Correct.
With something else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not after the fact that they've changed.
Yeah.
So they're not your client anymore if they've already changed. So.
Yeah. And I mean, and if you think because you talk to them really great, they're not going to change, that's just not true. My own grandmother, this annual enrollment.
Right? Good story.
Now, she's old, and I love my grandma, but she's losing it a little bit, right? So she has difficulty remembering things. But, I put her on the best plan. She lives in a very small town. Someone else called her this annual enrollment, and, they made it seem to her like she was getting, better benefits. And in all reality, there was one benefit that was better, and it was dental by about, I think it was like $500 or something like that. Everything else on the plan I put her on was better, and I had to explain to her. So even if you think, they said that I could come over and stay at their house whenever I needed a place to stay, they will change. Yeah. And it's up to you to kind of, again, foster that relationship, build it, grow it, and really manage it and make sure that it's, you're not losing it. Keep that retention.
Your clients like shiny things, so you're going to go to the next shiny thing. Oh,
yeah.
So.
Well, I just thinking of this AEP, two people come to mind. One, I took a newer agent out in the field with me to one of his existing clients. He's a life insurance agent. I literally did the whole presentation for him. Was like, hey, this is what I would do. Here's the doctor. Showed him how to sell a plan. And he messaged me, he said, hey, I just got a charge back for this lady. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, she changed her plan. I knew that. I was like, hey man, yeah, she changed her plan. No, she didn't. I'm like, oh, she did. I guarantee she changed her plan, man. Yeah. She wouldn't do that to me. And, one Mark's check later, it's like, yeah, bro, she changed her plan literally to the plan I told you to enroll her on, which was even funnier because he, long story short, he wasn't appointed to sell Select Health here in Utah. And so he really pushed it hard for the other carrier, and she ended up signing up for the plan that I told him to put her on. Anyway, right? Another one, I went into a home appointment with a gentleman out in Ogden and was like, hey, man, looks like you have already changed your plan this year, but Mark's checked him. Mm-hmm. Why did you enroll in this plan? Oh, the guy on the phone told me it was going to be this, he just listed all these benefits and that he helped me apply for Medicaid. Again, this leads into some stuff that we're going to talk about later when it's just like know your markets and be educated. So he starts rattling off, facts about how Medicaid is going to work for him here in Utah. And I was like, that's not how it works. That's not how much money do you make? Right.
Yeah.
Because I know these numbers. And he's like, yeah, I make $1,800. He said, I'm going to get Medicaid. No, you're not.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
False promises.
And he was like, yeah, my Medicaid's supposed to go through. When did he submit that application for you? Oh, 4 weeks ago. It's about a 15-day turnaround.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, man, I'm not trying to like say you made a mistake, but whoever you talked to gave you wrong information. Yeah. Oh, he said once my Medicaid goes through, I'm automatically going to be enrolled in this other plan. That's not how it works either. Right?
Yeah.
Like, but it's just funny. Like people call and they just sell people, and that's part of the business. But it's like, do a good job at the end of the day. If you're gonna sell somebody, write them on a business. Hopefully, you've left them in a better place and just didn't like tell them a whole bunch of things that are not true.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So next, let's talk about again, like we're in this post, AEP game plan. Another thing I would implement literally today on my docket is creating what I call like my post AEP game plan card. Right. Years past, I haven't been a super active agent in years past, but now I'm kind of building back up. But in years past, after every AEP, I would mail my clients a card. Thanks for letting me be your agent. Rich Post, Medicare Advocates. I helped you with your Medicare, but I can also help you with, list the ancillary products.
Right.
Right. And I don't care, if they're on Medicaid or Medicare or supplements, right? I just blast my whole book of business, and I just list things like hospital indemnity, dental, vision, hearing, final expense, long-term care, right? Hopefully it generates a call or two, but it also is another touch point for you and your client, right? And so it's like, and I usually send those out right in like February to March, kind of close to the end of OEP, just to kind of hit them again. So
well, it's the more products you have with your clients, the more likelihood you're going to keep that client and get more referrals with that client as well too. Oh, I've got a guy that does all of this for me. He helps me with X, Y, Z, A, B, whatever it may be. And at the same tone of that too, it's don't just become an expert in one field. Maybe it's time to start branching out a little bit to help you build better retention and just make more money at the same time. Yeah. You have more products that you can sell. That's more money in your pocket and more people you can help. And your easiest prospects is going to be your current book of business.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially when it comes to like a hospital indemnity plan. Hey, we got you this Medicare Advantage plan earlier this year. I have this product that's going to help you cover those, hospital costs. Let's take a look into it.
Yeah. But Jordan, I need training. That's the thing. Like, guys, hospital indemnity is such an easy pitch. Like, just offer it. Offer final expense. Offer life insurance. Here's another key point. If you're talking to someone who's turning 65 and they're leaving the workforce, have that conversation. Hey, do you have a 401k that you need to roll over? Hey, is your life insurance in order? Right? You don't have to know everything before you do anything. You don't have to be a subject matter expert, as we say in the military, to sell someone a product. Just help the person the best you can. There's members on staff, like, here we go. Had an agent, hey, I got this lady who wants life insurance. I don't know what I'm doing. I literally was like, neither do I, but I'll try to help this person out. And I sold 2 life insurance policies. It's been years since I've sold a life insurance policy.
Yeah. Just log in. So for the example, I used hospital indemnity. Yeah. It was golden rule. I'd never used them before. I'm like, hey, I'm just going to log in. Okay. It's this. Okay. It looks like it's this. Let's enroll you. Like, it's that easy most of the time.
Yeah. I think agents just get a little like, I don't want to say like analysis paralysis, but just scared, right, of what they don't know. And it's like, I look at like golden rules, like, man, if you can buy something on Amazon, you can sell a golden rule policy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just clicking buttons.
It's pretty much that easy.
Yeah. And you got to know how to read too. There is that caveat. So,
If you don't know how to read, you're in a different market. But
so again, just, after AEP, start reaching out to your clients. If you don't know what to do, just start there, right? Start reaching out to your clients, offering ancillary products, whether that's a phone call, text, email, postcard, like I like to do. And then you will hopefully see some success. 1 or 2 policies, per 100 clients, I think is really good, and it helps you, develop a rhythm, right? Next thing I think, to set yourself up for success for 2025, right? Continue to educate yourself. We all get those emails from all the different carriers. I'm going to be honest here. Half the time I delete them without looking at them because
mark them as red.
I get them every day. But my here we go. My New Year's resolution for 2025 is to be better at reading those emails, right? But we get all those emails from CMS, and so let's talk about the Heidi Fidy SEP stuff.
Yeah, so the biggest change coming into next year is the LIS code is still there. It is now monthly. It's not quarterly. Yeah. However, from what we were reading earlier is you can go from anything to a PDP, right?
Yes. So basically like a disenrollment.
Yeah. Kind of like the old Medicare Advantage disenrollment period for those older agents. Or you can go PDP to PDP.
Okay.
Like that. The only time you can get into an MA plan is if it's a Heidi or FIDE. Now, Heidi stands for Highly Integrated Dual Eligible.
Okay.
FIDE stands for Fully Integrated Dual Eligible. These are Medicare Advantage plans that also share the Medicaid contract in that county most of the time, because you have different states, like California has a lot of different ones. Texas has a lot of different ones. Not just that state, but in that area, what is available. So if you're looking to change someone into an MAPD, they have to be the right level of Medicaid.
Yeah.
But then there could be some instances like in Indiana, Humana has one. It's the Humana Gold Plus integrated plan. I think you've seen it once or twice, but they also have to be in the Indiana Pathways for Aging, as well as have the proper level of Medicaid. Because I've had a lot of agents come back and say, hey, they had the right level of Medicaid, but they weren't approved. I'm like, well, it's because...
Yeah, well, that doesn't seem too far out there. I know in Arizona has been a tough D-SNP market because they have to have that long-term care part. And so I know a lot of agents have struggled there. So this is just basically, in my mind, one more of those. Yeah, it's pros and cons to everything. It's I can't change someone's plan every 3 months now. Boohoo. But think of it as being an agent side. Now my book of business is more protected.
Yeah, exactly. Throughout, what does Mike and Dan say? Throughout chaos is always opportunities.
Yeah.
So if you can't use the LAS, CSNP is a rising market as well. Yeah. A lot of beneficiaries we talk to have some type of chronic condition, whether it be diabetes, heart issues. Yep. A lot of them are taking some kind of statin at this point in their life, or any kind of blood thinner.
Yeah.
So that's one you can roll into. That's always really going to be there throughout the entire year. There's no blackouts on CSNPs. Our DST is
exactly.
As of April 1st.
That one seems weird, but
you're reading on this. As of April 1st, you have to call in to CMS to use the DST code. Which
I wonder what that means for the agent side of things. Hey, can an agent call into Medicare? Hey, I got Sally Smith on the line. I doubt that's gonna be.
Well, it's funny because all enrollments have to go be approved by CMS anyways. Yeah. So it's like a prior authorization medication. Pharmacy looks at, yeah, we need to make sure the doctor, says you can have this. Well, I just got to prescribe from the doctor.
And here's the signature, but we got to look again,
Yeah, we just need a double verification, basically.
I've always thought the DST, that's probably been the one that I've used the least, because I've always just kind of been I've used it, but I also at the same time I think it's kind of funny because it's think about that's how I think of things. It's since this podcast is internal, California issues a monkeypox DST, and I go to myself, I was going to change my Medicare plan, but I was so afraid to go outside or get on the computer or call somebody because of monkeypox.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it stemmed from COVID.
Yeah.
Right. It came out after COVID. Hey, I missed my enrollment period because I couldn't meet with my agent virtually or over the phone. Yeah. So a lot of people use that as a crutch, but DST is still available.
Yes.
It's going to be commonly used now for someone who didn't enroll in AEP and who doesn't have a Medicare Advantage plan. So it's going to be, not a big population of people we're talking to, but it's available.
Well, and rightfully so. Because you think of not making fun of actual natural disasters or people's situations, but like, hey, I'm, in Tornado Alley, it's, early whatever, and my house gets ripped up. I'm not focused on my insurance. I'm focused on, reestablishing my family and my house. And so like, rightfully so. To me, that makes sense. Again, I look at the disaster codes when they come out, and sometimes I'm just like, oh, immigration disaster code. Okay. You were so afraid being funny. I was so afraid to go outside because, people from south of the border, like those are the things that make me laugh sometimes,
But I mean, just like you said earlier, like, Florida got hit with those 2 hurricanes within a very short span of time. Yeah. I'm not focusing on anything else but staying alive and making sure I have a place to live at that point. So DST has its place, but just know after April 1st, it's going away. But kind of the note on that heading into AP or OEP is, we said earlier, don't take your foot off the gas. Do as much as you can now. Yeah. So,
I mean, this is just basically like an extended AEP. It really is. With all the changes, there's so many people that got, SARD, service area reduction.
Those people too. Good one.
Auto-enrolled into PDPs or another plan. They have no idea, or they find out last second. And now they know what's even going on. They don't even know what their plan really is. I've noticed a trend from doing in-home. A lot of, older beneficiaries don't look at that packet that gets mailed to them about their new plan.
Kind of like our emails.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. So that's just, a big opportunity as well. But again, don't take the foot off the gas, because you should write more during OEP, and obviously because it's longer than AEP, but you should write more in OEP than you did in AEP.
For sure.
100%. And by a lot more, not just a little, by a lot more too.
Well, even just like, again, educating yourself, like just think of some of those SCP codes, like, institutionalized. If you're a field agent, go make relationships. I think I told the story a couple times. I went and, knocked on the door of a facility I used to help years ago when I was an active field agent. And I just said, hey, I'm in the area again. I still help people with Medicare. I know you haven't seen me since 2019. But yeah, here's a couple of my cards. Literally 2 days later, hey, we have 9 people who need to move off this iSNP. We hate it. Who do you like? Is literally the next words out of my mouth. And so I literally showed up to the facility and wrote 9 deals in 2 days. Like just, continuous SCP. They're in a facility, right?
Yeah. And then to that effect, if you're going to show up to those facilities or other areas, doctor's offices or different places you want to do business with, like I think you had one as a barber shop or something, right? I can't
that's
remember.
Not me.
Somebody
that
did.
Sounds like a good one.
But like, don't show up once, say, hey, I do Medicare, and then it'll be like, cool, I don't remember you. But if you continually show up,
yes.
Like, hey, once again, I'm here again, because that shows to them, okay, if he's showing up a few times, he's actually going to take care of our clientele, because he's showing up and not just like, hey, look at me, here's my card, but see you later.
Yeah, well, the way I teach it is basically the way I was taught to me is think of it like a paper route. I don't know if you know what that is.
I remember.
A delivery route.
When I was a kid.
It's like, I teach agents, go, it's Google, dentist near me, insert the whatever it is, the facility, doctor's offices, whatever it's going to be, and then literally show up, 3 to 4 business cards. Don't bring your hand sanitizer station and your poster and all this, just swag, just a couple business cards. If it's a dentist office, you don't need to talk to the dentist. It's the gal at the front counter.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, Katie, my name's Rich. I help people with Medicare. If you ever have any, of your patients who have questions about, dental coverage and Medicare, just send them my way. I'll answer any question. By the way, who do you guys like?
Yeah.
We like, enter the, insert company here. And then
ABC.
Come back, 5-6 weeks later. Hey, one thing I did to one dentist office is I actually lied. Hey, thanks for that referral. You know what I mean? Thanks. They didn't refer anybody to me. Hey, thanks for that referral. I was able to get them on a good plan. I don't know if they're, the Smiths, that's very common. The Smiths, they're going to love that plan, and just gave her a couple more business cards. And again, around and around. I did the same thing with pharmacies and, it was, here locally in Utah, Fresh Market. Next thing I know, it's PDP business in the beginning, which, fine, right? Helping people out. It's what it's really about. Then it's like, hey, you should meet my boss.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I should meet your boss. Fast forward, make a, long story short, I actually tapped Dan. Hey man, I got a presentation next week, in front of 40 pharmacy owners, who manage 500 pharmacies across the country. I need your help. Right. And they were like, hey, can you help us with that? Yes. And this is when I was just an independent agent. I was like, yeah, I can help you. Yeah. But again, that just goes to if you're an agent right now and you're sitting there going like, what do I need to do in 2025 to be, to be successful? Again, understand the market you're in, educate yourself, understand SEPs. There's opportunity everywhere, right? I remember, 2012, OEP didn't exist. Or it just didn't exist.
It didn't exist for like 5 years ago.
DSTs didn't exist. And I know I was successful. I know other successful agents. It's just a change in the rules to the game. Don't get frustrated. Just go out there and keep working. Because when other people are scared, that's the time to move. I think it's like a Warren Buffett quote or something.
Yeah.
Let's just close it down. I think we should, keep this to about 30 minutes. We're about.
Let me just say one last quick thing. Right off of what you said.
Yeah.
You're not the only one that's scared or frustrated. Everybody else is.
Yeah.
And if you look at it in the aspect of, well, do you want to come out on top or do you want to come out on bottom? Everyone is frustrated. Everyone's learning this. So learn it first, learn it better, learn it faster, come out on top, get the people before others get them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Through chaos, there's opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and just we'll put in a plug for the Elite. What's the official name?
It's the Agent Elite Training.
Yeah,
I had it flipped.
It's close enough. It's going to be January 21 and 22. So that's Tuesday and Wednesday, starting at 9 a.m. here at the office. It's a free training. Anybody can come out.
Yeah.
If you're one of our agents who have met the qualifications, we will help with your flight and hotel, depending on how many sales you've made. Reach out to us if you're one of our agents, but anybody can come to it. It's free.
Yeah. And if you're one of our agents or not, come out. If you know other agents in the industry, invite them out to it. Like Jordan said, it's absolutely free. It's 2 days of just, industry insights, technology. I think I'm running the grassroots marketing 1 hour, 2 hour training. I don't know how long it is. I asked for that opportunity to kind of share what I've done. But a great training. I've seen it 3 times now. Learn something new every time, and I'm one of the people who helps put on the training. So
I looked at the agenda, and it is chocked full. There's not going to be anything we're going to miss, really. And if you have any questions or want to know more about certain situations or certain opportunities you may have, advancing your book of business, becoming possibly building your own agency under us, help you out with that.
Okay, all right, guys.
Yeah, sweet.
That's a wrap.
Sweet.
Okay, episode 1.